I'll say this nice, tell it in a letter, stamp and mail it out. We did our best, couldn't have done better. I think we should be proud. But you held me down when I was living up, back and forth but never together. So I'll stand up and walk out and make my way alone for now. Holy as a ghost, heavy as a feather, pure as the driven snow. But watch your back, it's heartbreak weather. I think it's time you go. My mind's made up, my mind's made up. We keep doing this but nothing's getting better. So I'll stand up and walk out and make my way alone for now. Say you'll find yours in time, but I'm not sure what's yours and what's mine.
Alright then, everyone, well, welcome to Dreamland, episode 2. Where in this mini-series we're going to be celebrating, commemorating and looking back on Minnesota's inaugural World Cup Championship from 2024. And this time, actually, we were just saying before we actually start, these next two are going to be really, test the memory. Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Because obviously, the playoffs still feel fresh in the mind, and given how they were literally only short five-game series, it still feels fresh in the mind, and it's still easy to remember rather than best of seven. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, if you try to ask us to think about starting a playoff series over the years, I think it would be a struggle because obviously there's a best of sevens. But I think a World Cup playoff series would be easy. I mean, we can still recall the fact that Montreal got swept by Boston, the other semi, and of course we weren't even watching that. No, but we did hear the result. Yeah. So these next two episodes are going to be, which are dedicated to frequency, are going to be a real test of our memory as a trio of how well we recall last season. So we can actually just pick up where that left last one. So the last episode we kind of finished it on talking about if any of us three had any expectations, heading into that inaugural week. And Lady, you're the only one who did. Yeah, I remember saying I expect a really competitive team based on how well we have drafted with this roster. Yeah. That's what I was thinking. I was thinking in that sense. Yeah. I think this is a really strong roster. I think we could have a really good team. Let's be competitive because we did not want to be that team that's literally landed to the basement, struggling to get regulation wins. Yeah. I personally didn't have an expectation myself because, for me, it's a lot to adjust to, going from once every 4 years at Olympics to now it being a full-time thing. And of course, you, as you mentioned, still wasn't enthusiastic. You kind of felt bad on the last episode. I kind of got you kind of felt bad about it. Well, I just remember my enthusiasm did not kick in until we got actually started to puck drop, and in the last episode, I really kind of felt like I was like, oh my god, I shouldn't have done it. No, but it was totally understandable because a lot of people. Oh, lady's gone! Oh, she's gone! Oh dear. Sorry. Oh god. So a bit more closer to the chair. I thought we had it all set up. There you go, blunder! There you go, first blunder of the mini series. Alright, we had it all set over the inch. They were perfectly in shot. You still, yeah, right, okay, right, let's just try. Yeah. Oh. There you go. Clip that. That'll be something where to the I bet you shocked your partner into falling off the chair. You didn't need to feel like that, though. There you go. Exactly. Understand me? Because a lot of people, they would have been feeling exactly like you were. Not sure how well this thing was going to do. I don't think many people would have been like me and you, George, who were just like, let's just go for it, come on! Yeah. Drop the puck! I don't think I've ever been so excited to get to New Year's Day before in my life. Because Christmas season's never good for me. And I can remember, when on New Year's Day, like, can we just hurry up and get to 2024? Just like, yeah. See you in 2023, bye! Happy New Year! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go. But I set this up wrong today because you two are going on. Right. So I'm sure you will stay the shot as well. So I'm going to have to keep checking back every so often. It's like, yeah, but like, I don't remember this. What? I don't remember you being like that on New Year's Eve 2023. Well, clearly someone wasn't paying attention there, were they? It was like, get this clock run down now! Let's go! I mean, we didn't have our first game on New Year's Day, but the league was starting on New Year's Day, so of course we wanted to keep an eye on what's going on as well. Yeah. Because we do pay very close attention to this league, full stop. Yeah, it's full time for us. We don't just tune in when our Frost are in play. We keep an eye on everything going on in the league. So even when the Frost aren't in play, we're constantly keeping an eye on what's going on results-wise. Because you can't really step away from this league, because given how super competitive it is, you literally have to keep... You can't just have your team. You have to follow everything else going on. Because of how those standings change. I mean, yeah, literally, they just change day by day, hour by hour, minute by minute, second by second. Yeah. Millisecond by millisecond. Nanosecond by nanosecond. Okay, they get the point, you two. It's a competitive league. Which I don't think anyone saw that coming. No. No. And it still is. It still is now going into what of course this is will be out by the time year 2 is finished, but we're recording this during the championships break. It's still been competitive in year 2. Which is amazing. I mean, this is the one only sports league that I'm involved with that has got parity from top to bottom. Every team is super competitive, and any team can beat any team on a given night. That's why I think Toronto's win streak last year is so rare, because in a league like this, you think it would be impossible to get to a 7-game winning streak. Now I'm at 11. Well, I think Montreal this year had a 6-game winning streak before we snapped it. Yeah, but Jocks and Joes are claiming the credit for it. It's like, we did it, but they're taking credit for it because they were meant to be like, oh, is anyone else going to beat Montreal again? Hold my soda. That was a huge night for us because obviously it was our first ever win in Montreal as a whole. Yeah, that's so great. Yeah. Yeah, this league was super competitive. So for us, we constantly follow the league as a whole. So even when the Frost are in play, we keep an eye what's going on as well, results-wise. Which is kind of new for me in play, because obviously we in the NHL only follow the Kings. Because, yes, I think I mentioned it before, the Pack only keep an eye on their respective team in the NHL. And I, for the last how many years, have always been keeping an eye on both my Sharks and the league. But of course, next season, well actually no, over the summer, the Pack are going to rewire me. We are, because obviously us three are going to up our PWHL coverage next year, which means you need to now be rewired when it comes to NHL and just focus on your Sharks and nothing else. Yeah. So that's what we're going to do to you over the summer. Yeah. We're going to rewire you. You'll be ready for October 7th. Mm-hmm. Is that when the NHL season starts? I believe that's what Guy Butler said. Yeah, October 7th, 2025, when next season's going to start. Yeah. But anyway, but back to what we were talking about. You know, we were just like, me and Lady, we were just like ready to go. And you were like, you were still hesitant, but that was fair. But I think even you were at that point was just itching. Oh, I remember on our first game day, I liked you. I was like, ready to go. Because here we are. This is it. Game day is here. Game 1. Let's do it. Yeah. And as I think what was evident is once we had the game start, you then got into it. Yeah. And you were like, so then we constantly joke about how, Pluto's the one member of the trio that was roped in. But he wasn't technically roped in. Okay. He, like us two, have got infused into this league. He is just as passionate about this league as us two are. It's just, you have some sort of level-headedness to it. Yeah. Which is good, because I think this trio needs to have at least one of us who can go, yes, but, and throw, yeah, and just get the debate going on a particular issue. Yeah, because I feel, yeah. Yeah, I feel like a lot of things that happen in this league, I feel like me and George were on the same page, and then you have gone, well, actually, I think other, and that's good, because it then means we can have a nice, good, meaningful conversation about it. Yeah. And then eventually we all then agree on the same page. Yeah, absolutely, which is good, that's why I want it to be. I don't want us all to agree on the same thing, I want at least one of us to think differently, but then we can all then go afterwards, after we've hashed it out, and go, right, and then we're all settled. Yeah, but obviously, once the game's gone away, Pluto was ready, you were ready to go, yeah, and you've not looked back since now. I've just been just in touch with you, yeah. So, let's get into it, shall we? Now, test the memory. Here we go. So, PWHL Minnesota played its first game on January the 3rd, 2024, facing PWHL Boston in Lowell, Massachusetts at the Songa Center. Now, this first week, if I remember rightly, in the PWHL was not a great week for home openers. No. It was not, no. So, shall I do it? I think I just remember it. Right, okay, go for it, Plug. Toronto lost their home opener. And that was the first ever game ever to play the league. Ottawa lost their home opener. Boston lost their home opener. We were next. Were we after Boston? We were after Boston. Ah, yeah, we were after Boston. And I can remember on the home opener, I was like, and we would be next. And it's like, oh no, we don't, sticky bit, yeah. But it was not a great week for hurlers, which makes contrast to year 2, where more teams have won hurlers than they did last year. Yeah, it's always like role reversed. Everyone's winning our hurlers and we're losing ours. Well, we've already covered that. Yeah, we've already covered that. With you being the complete emotional wreck that you ended up being. I know! Get up! Let's not dwell. They can go and watch that back. Okay? But yeah, it wasn't a great first week for hurlers. So Toronto, Ottawa, Boston, and then we were next. But we go back to January the 3rd. So we need to put the context. So on New Year's Day, which of course was that first game of New York at Toronto, I noticed on the PWHL's YouTube channel, which I can remember a few weeks before had already subscribed to, already on the ball, was subscribed to. I noticed they were putting a stream on of New York at Toronto. I was like, what's this? What's happening? Yeah, it's not really the thing you expect to see in sports. No. It's like, oh, what's up? So I thought, right, okay. And then the next day it was going to be Montreal. Straight out, I was like, oh. And then day of our game, it's like, oh, Minnesota, Boston. So I said to you two, should we see if they are? Should we see the stream of the games? Right. So it got to game time. I go on YouTube. We put it on, and yeah, they're streaming the entire game. Literally, from opening face-off to the post-game reactions, they were streaming the entire game. It's like, oh. So I thought, oh, that was lovely, great. Because we going into the inaugural season weren't too sure how were we going to follow this league. That's why I did not want Purple Rain to be like Tyrrell. Because A, I wanted Purple Rain to be like a different show. And B, I didn't know how much I was going to be able to follow. This is a brand new league. It was basically making it up as well along. So, the fact that, oh my god, I can just stream that for free. Brilliant. Brilliant. And then, we noticed it on the now he's gone! Now he's gone! Can I just pause 1 second and work this out? He's gone! Shocker free stuff! The shocker free stuff! We love free stuff in this country. We're a nation that loves free stuff. Right, hold on. Plumped it back up. Are you guys in shock? Yeah, I've just plumped it back up. We really do need something proper. Yeah. We really do. Yeah. So it's a shocker free stuff! Free stuff! We love free stuff in this country. If you need one thing to say about us Brits, we are a nation that loves free stuff. We really are. So, I think, Lady, you're about to make a point. Yeah. So, we noticed when I saw other things about them, and we just kept pressing them, because we thought, well, this might not be a thing that lasts very long. Let's just make the most of it. And yet, there was doing it every team, and every team's game. Yeah. When did we draw the conclusion that we felt this was not a temporary fix, it was going to be here for the long haul? I think it was Rivalry Series. Right, so just before you went to go and follow Rivalry Series. Yeah, because last year, Lady went to go and follow the Rivalry. I'm going to mention that in a minute. That's coming in a minute, so I'll let you take the charge of that. Lady last year went to go and follow the Rivalry Series, and me and Pluto took the week off. If it was an international competition with more countries, I might have been up for it, but because it was just between US and Canada, and I thought it was most like Canada would win, I thought I won't bother it, so I had a week off. Yeah. Basically, take stock of how you did so far as your first month. Yeah. Whereas he's got a nice week off. Yeah, we're only for Olympics. Yes, Pluto, when it comes to international play, can only for Olympics and not Olympics. So Pluto, what I was pre-PWHL, because obviously since the PWHL, I now follow the World Championships. So, yeah. So Pluto is basically what I was pre-2024. Yeah, that's great. And we're going to keep fighting for the YouTube. Oh yeah. We are going to be... So if the PWHL wants to try and take it away, we're going to fight you for it. Yeah. Seeing that last year, seeing the engagement in the chat that people had across the world, so not just in respective markets, but across the entire world, was just incredible. So you need to have the YouTube made available. Even if you do manage to find a national broadcaster in the States and Canada, that's fine. But I think for your overseas audience, your global market, that is where you need the YouTube. That is where you need the live stream on the website. So we're going to fight to make sure YouTube stays a permanent thing, no matter what happens with the league. And what a way to do that. I mean, had any other leagues thought about doing that? Nope. That's unheard of. Because, let's face it, streaming is going to be the future when it comes to sports. Yeah. I mean, there are quite a few teams in the NHL this year who now do a streaming service instead of being on a national broadcaster. I won't list them because I can't remember them all, and we'll be here all night and make a complete topic. Yeah. So, streaming is kind of the future. But the fact that PHL got in first and gone for the free route, brilliant, because it's making it accessible to as many people as you possibly can. Absolutely, which is what we need to do. We need to find ways, as we try to find ways to grow the league, we need to find ways to make it accessible to people, and the YouTube is the perfect way to do it. So we're going to fight hard to keep that as a permanent thing. We absolutely are. But back to that first game in Boston. So, huge historical moment for us. And it was actually a very close tight affair, which kind of thing set the tone for what would then later unfold. I think a lot of people looked on paper and thought Minnesota Boston probably not going to be an epic matchup. And oh my. Oh my, would you be proven wrong? Oh my. And I think in that game, if there was like 5 more minutes, it could have been 2 points for us. Or 1 point, because I think Boston would have completely tied it and then would have took it into overtime and potentially the shootout. Yeah. So, it's cool. Yeah. So that's at 3-2. And getting that first ever goal in franchise history was, you could not write it. You could not write it. You could not write it. Getting that first goal for PWHL Minnesota was Taylor Heisty. You couldn't write that. You could not write that. In September 2023, she gets taken by Minnesota as the first overall draft pick. Then the first ever game for Minnesota, she goes to get the first goal. You couldn't write that. You could not write that. Well, she just proved all the hype around her was correct, and she would then go on to be a really valuable asset in that championship, especially when we got into the playoffs. Exactly. Still got a way to go before we get that. I know you want to tease. But we got to stick to what we're right now. Yeah. So great first win. So yeah. So it was a few days later. I think it was Yep, January the 6th. PWHL Minnesota would make its home debut against PWHL Montreal. And this was a really, really dominant win. I think this was the only dominant win we had over Montreal in the entire series last year, the regular season. Yeah. Absolutely. Because the rest of the games between Montreal were really, really dominant. And I'm trying to think, did Montreal beat us on home ice last year? I know we didn't beat them on home ice. I can't remember. I don't know. Yeah. But it was a really great one. A shutout performance. Yeah. And Grayson Winkle gets the first ever hat trick in the PWHL. Woohoo! Just incredible. Just incredible. Yeah, that was very absolutely just amazing there. And of course, given how, as I mentioned, home openers had not been a great thing for the PWHL. Toronto lost the opening game. Ottawa would lose their home opener to this Montreal team. So the fact that we were able to get this win on home ice was an achievement. But to do it in a shutout, incredible. Because we haven't really had that many shutouts. It's not easy to shut out a team in the PWHL. It's really not. I know the Sirens make it look easy. But it's really not that easy to do in this league. It's really not. No, it's not. It's really hard. Yeah. Before I mention the other note about the Hopper, how are you guys feeling going into that? Because for me, I can remember the weight of this game on my shoulders a bit more than the first one. Because I would have thought the first one would have weighed heavy on me, given how that's going to be the first ever game for our team in this league. But it was a road game. Whereas this is actually full-blown, the home opener. First test to see how well Minnesota's going to react to this team. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously, you just don't know until that first game. You just didn't know how it was going to go. Would people admit? I mean, Minnesota has always been known as the state of hockey. Yeah. And I know it hasn't had that much great success in the men's sport. I mean, the North Stars didn't have great success. The Wild have still yet to have great success. So, but yet Minnesota still known as the state of hockey. So, yeah, but the big question was going to be, would they show up for a women's hockey team? That was always going to be the big question. You know, and just they did. Because on that opener, 13,000 Got it here. I've got it on the notes. Wow. Wow. So, here we go. I'm going to react to you now. 13,316 fans were attending that opener. Wow. And at the time, that was a new world record for... Was it in the States or worldwide? Worldwide. That was a new world record for a women's hockey game. Now, that would eventually, as the months went on, that would eventually get smashed again, because Montreal in their neutral site game against Toronto smashed it. That's never going to get beaten unless the league comes to Europe. And Detroit has got the record for the US. Yeah. But at the time, it was just like, wow. Just wow. Yeah. And I think that any doubts we had about this team not going to have the support it needs, I think we just went out the window. On home game number 1. Yep. On home game number 1. Out the window. Because we did have that feeling. We were like, oh, okay, how many people really going to show up for this and they're not going to show up for it? But I think that went out the window. Yeah. And Minnesota actually does do very good for home attendance. We get roughly about between 6,000 to 9,000 a game, which I don't think is too bad. No, it's not shabby. No. I know people probably saying, hold on, you're in an NHL arena, why are you not doing more? But, hey ho, this is a brand new league. We're still finding our feet. Give us another 5-10 years, then we might hit the 10,000. Then we might be like Montreal and hit 10,000 regular days. I know. That still shocks you that Montreal's barely can hold 10,000. Well, the Big Trois share with the Larbo Rocket. Now, I'm familiar with Larbo for the NHL, but I don't get to see Larbo in the regular season. The only way I would see Larbo would be if, in the Calder Cup finals. That would be the only way I would face Larbo. So I was quite shocked. I was like, hold on, Montreal's getting 10,000 a night. I thought that place could only hold about 5,000, 6,000. Used to be there. Yeah. But incredible. No. Yeah, so we would get about 6,000 to 9,000 a game, which I don't think is too bad. No. Yeah, it's a great foundation to build on going forward. Give us 5 years, then we might be like Montreal on a regular basis. But it was great. Yeah. But yeah, absolutely. So, any doubts just went out of the window. Yeah, right there and then. Any doubts just went out the window. Yeah, literally went out the window. Yeah, absolutely. Just amazing. Because I don't think a lot of people understand the challenge last year of having to, do it now. That's it. No. I'll do it on half. Yeah. I don't think a lot of people realise the challenge we had last year. Not just launching a brand new league, but all 6 of these teams did not have a name. They did not have a brand. You simply had to be known as PWHL and then your team. So team's state name. So for us, PWHL Minnesota. That's not easy to brand. No. That is not easy to brand. And yet, on our first ever home game, 13,000 people showed out for a women's hockey game. A women's hockey game. She's trying to hammer it in, you misogynist. One more, lady, a bit louder. A women's hockey game. Got 13,000 bands. Basically, she's trying to say, now you still want to tell me people don't watch women's hockey? I really dread the day someone says that to you. Why? Because I could just imagine we would just go full on, kick them in the balls. And I can get them babies. And then Plug be like, I have no idea. Then Plug be like, you know what? I have no idea who these people are. And I confirm that she's your wife! And he's your human! Yeah, don't try and say to us that people don't watch women's hockey unless you value your lives. Let's just leave it at that. Although, would we actually not do that now we've had it in full season? No, you would have any opportunity to kick someone in the balls. We would deserve it. You would have an excuse. Oh, right. Now, that home was a huge moment for us, and it's definitely up there as well, the many highlights of the... We never did do a highlights video, did we, last year, about our highlights from the last season? No. No, well, no, never mind. Never mind. But we basically just wanted to have that summer to basically just, you know, take it all in. Yeah, just celebrate and reflect and not do anything until it got right towards the start of this season. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so let's move on now. So you start the season 2-0. Great work there. And what's really interesting is how this team, it got to a really flying start, you know. They picked up 15 points in the month of January. And in the process of that, picked up 5 wins, of which 3 of those were in regulation. And that's a huge deal, because if you are aware of the PHL, we have a different point system to men's hockey. And this is something that I have been begging the AHL to do for years, this point system. And if the eastern lot of our pack were up here, they would have absolutely backed these two up. I've been saying it for years. Okay? And I think it would make quite a difference. So the PHL, we have a 3-2-1-0 point system. So, I'll explain it now for you guys. Just if you're still new to this, or you've got no idea what we're talking about. So, if a team wins a game in regulation, that's 3 points. If a team wins a game in a shootout or an overtime, that is 2 points. If a team loses in a shootout or an overtime, that is just 1 point. And of course, do I need to do a hand gesture for regulation? No. If a team loses in regulation, that is 0 points. 0 points. And trust us, ideally, you want to avoid as many regulation losses as you possibly can. We didn't really think about this until this year to year 2. Last year we were just kind of like, we'll take what we get. But this year we've been kind of like, regulation losses, bad thing. We want to avoid those because it's better for you to come away with at least some points in every game rather than no points at all, especially when it comes to those fine margins between whether or not you're going to be competing for the World Cup playoffs or you're going to be competing for the gold plan. Yeah. And I think that's probably one of the big reasons why this season is so competitive, because teams understand the importance of a regulation win. Whereas in the NHL, some teams on certain nights might just try to play to force overtime because they know they'll get something out of it. And then, yeah, I've definitely seen that over the years. Like, I've definitely seen that over the years. Yeah. So 3 out of 5 wins, not span regulation wins. Brilliant work. So you're shutting out teams, your opponent's opportunity to get some points. Great work there. And I think that, you know, just quickly establish themselves as a powerhouse. Yeah, and this was basically one of the teams to watch in the PHL. Absolutely. Because I think that first month it was kind of hard to work out who was going to be the leaders of the pack. Yeah. And it was, well, yeah, especially that first month, Toronto were nowhere in the frame. Exactly. They were nowhere in the frame. And then after the rivalry series, it kind of then turned and they went on that completely improbable run, which I still can't believe. I know. I mean, if you know, Toronto last year had an 11-game win streak. Last year was only 24 games in the regular season. That's basically half the season Toronto won either in regulation or overtime or shootout. That's crazy. Absolutely. I mean, yeah, it'd be more doable because there's 82 games. But for the PHL, you think, again, how the PHL, you got again. I think he's trying to avoid this little diss that we're about to make about the NHL, but kind of, I know. That's because in PHL, the PHL is more competitive than the NHL. Put that there. Put that there. Yeah. So it was kind of yeah. So I think we established ourselves as a powerhouse very quickly, and you just knew that this team was going to be one to watch. I was not saying definitely cup contenders straight away, because obviously back then we didn't know what the playoffs were. No, I don't think we learned until I think it might be March. I can't remember for certain. Yeah, I don't remember anything about playoffs before March. Okay, so yeah. But no, it's quite hard to work out who actually was at that time was leader of the pack. So yeah, so the fact that we managed to get a good football to begin with, great work sets us up for what was going to be a really, really competitive and tight season. Yeah, absolutely. So we come to February, and lady, this is where I'm going to have you take over. Yeah, because obviously, first week, beginning of February, you have the rugby series break, so it's just 1 week off. Now, for me, because it was only between the US and Canada, and I thought, well, Canada's more like to win. I thought, do you know what? I'm not that bothered. I'm going to take a week off to basically take stock of what we've done so far. He went off for a nice, lovely holiday. He had a week off. I didn't go on holiday. No, you had a holiday from the league. That's what I'm trying to say. You had a week off. You had a nice little hot break away from the league. And poor lady for the rugby series. I bet she wish she hadn't. I can't believe I forced to afford it again this year. I know. Oh, well, this year's rugby series break was a lot different because obviously this year's rugby series break fell during the final Olympic qualification. So, Lady went to go for our series. I went to go for Olympic qualification. He's got a week off. But yeah, but Lady, take us back to that last rugby series game. Oh my god. So, the end of the rugby series, Taylor Heisey gets an injury. And I was like, oh, go on, you can swear. Oh, shit. I felt two things there. Number one, our star players has been injured. The second thing, how do I get to go and report that back to the boys? Yeah. Because you actually did keep us informed about what was going on during the rugby series. You told us you won. I can remember you just it was almost like you about to deliver some really grave news, like seriously grave news. Yeah, just dreadful. I can remember you two's reactions. Oh, we lost it. You told us what happened. You said Taylor Heisey's got injury, and then we were like, what? Hold on! And the US didn't even win it either. Canada won. Just, yeah. We were like, no! No! Are you serious? Are you serious? Yeah. Oh my god, the stares I got from you two was unbearable. Because obviously you two had no idea what was going on. I was following it. And it was like, how do I report this back? They're gonna lose it. They're not gonna play it. We were literally about to head back into the regular season. I know. It's like, what are we supposed to do? Yeah. It's just, Mind my walls! Honestly. It was kind of like that moment. It was just like, oh my god. Because with everyone else thinking, well, okay, how's this going to affect the team now? Because how are they going to cope with that? Yeah. And that was kind of when the first real test of our adversity set in. You've lost a big player in Taylor Heisey. These games coming up, not going to be easy. What do you do? Yeah. What do you do? So this was kind of the first big test of adversity for Minnesota. I just felt, oh God, you look at that schedule for February, you think, yeah, okay, right, well, there's nothing we can do. Yeah, if she's in, she's out. If she's out, she's out. Just gotta roll it. This rivalry series is supposed to be a killer because there was some big, obviously, I didn't, obviously me personally didn't follow again this year, but there were some very big injuries that happened that afterwards. Oh yeah, it got a lot. I think this year we were very lucky to come unscathed because quite a few other teams had some serious injuries at the rivalry series, particularly in Toronto, who at that point were trying to then surge back into the conversation. Yeah. So this rivalry series is a killer. It's more of a killer than the World Championships. I don't recall many injuries from the World Championships last year. No. But again, with this rivalry series, it's between US and Canada. And as we've learned one thing in hockey, the US and Canadians hate each other. Yeah. Hate each other. Yeah. And yet you wouldn't think the Canadians have got a hateful bone in their bodies, but hey ho, you learn something every day, kids. Okay, so her absence was really though felt across the team. They only managed 2 wins in that month, and they really found it hard to get pucks in the back of the net. It was a really tough stretch. Oh, did I put any points we got that month? No, I thought I had. No, I don't know how many. No, I've not put down how many points we got, but we really struggled. We did. Her absence was, as you said, was really felt. Yeah, it's like, oh my God, because in moments like that, you need kind of your secondary players or your third liners, your fourth liners, step up. Yeah, to literally step up. If they can't step up, then what are you gonna do? And it was just really grueling. February's not a great month for us this so far. We've learned one of these last 2 seasons. Oh yeah, didn't have a great month this year even because of February. Yeah, but it was really tough. You go from having a great start, and then you now face this like speed bump. I think it's probably the best way to call it. Yeah. It was early in the season. It wasn't panic mode yet. No. But he just winced at that and thought, oh my God. Yeah. But, despite that, and this is kind of where we're going to end things. So, that however changed though. So you have a bad February. You only got 2 wins. Didn't pick up as many points as you could have done. That changed though in March. In March, it changed. And PWHL Minnesota had its best month of the entire regular season. Because in that month of March, Minnesota did not lose a single game. I know. Which is absolutely brilliant. To go, I mean, I know we say it plenty of times, but we're gonna keep hammering it in, so go ahead, boy! This is a super competitive league. And yet, to be able to go an entire month without a single loss. Brilliant. Get in! Yeah. However, we did drop points. So we can say, well, and because of the way this league is set up, we can say, well, we won every single game in March, but not all the win regulation. Now, if you think about it, or did you want to mention? I'll just mention which games they were. You can say your point. Okay. Yeah, so we did drop a few points, drop some points. We dropped points in 2 shootout wins. One against PWHL Ottawa at the start of the month, and then one to PWHL Montreal to end the month. And oh my god, that nearly killed me and lady. Nobody likes shootouts. No one likes shootouts. You can't even watch shootouts anymore than PWHL. You get so stressful. I know. I've not been good. We have had a few shootouts this season. I've not been good at watching them because it's just so stressful. Because the way a shootout design of PWHL is, it's best of 5, and you can have the same player about as many times as they want. So I always have to, when I go to I'm like, oh my god, no. Oh my god. I have to look at where I have to rely on, and I have to rely on what's going on the telly, and these two. Yeah. But that shoot, because I think that ship went to Montreal. Was it the last game before championships? Yes. Yeah. So it was really stressful. It nearly killed me and lady. It really did. I think I really had to try and jumpstart both your hearts. Well, I do say that hockey could one day be the death of me. Maybe it will be this league. Who knows? That's how passive. That's how invested I've got in this league. It nearly killed me. Oh god. No. Do you remember your point, lady, or did I cut you off? What's that actually? What was I going to say about that? I think I may have jumped the horse a bit. Oh no, I remember now. Okay. If those 2 shootout wins got converted into regulation wins, I don't think would men have the stress of what then would follow. Oh, do you think? Yeah. Because we only need a point. Oh yeah, fair dues. Well, that is next time. So you can basically on the next time you can throw out all you want, but yeah. What do you know? If they had been regulation wins, would we have still maybe only need that 1 point? Yeah, but it would have been yeah, but it might have then made things a bit easier if we didn't call the way we did, and it did. No, who knows? Who knows? Who knows? And you know what? I don't care. Because we still won the cup. By a point though, but I honestly couldn't care. Yeah. So a great, and we kind of needed a month like that after a really terrible February. We lost Taylor Heisey to injury. We had to face adversity. Great work there. Yeah, just to rebound and go into that championship break strong. So yeah, this is the final thing to finish off. So going into the championship break, into that break for the World Championships, PWHL Minnesota were firmly in pole position. They were at the top of the league standings with both Montreal and Toronto right on our heels. Yeah. Can you two remember who's in that 4th spot going into the championship break? Because I can't. I think it was Ottawa, but only just. I think it was Ottawa, but only just. And Boston were right in the thick of it. Only New York were kind of out of the frame going into the World Championship break. Right. And then Boston comes back to the championship break and did exactly what it needed to do, including a game against us, which yeah, that's not what they like. Yeah. So, but we were in pole position, and we actually as a trio then started thinking, right, if that was to stand, who would we then choose as our opponent? We did. We toyed with that idea. Well, it got announced back in March the plan for the playoffs. We had that conversation about what do we want to do? Do we want to go for broke and try and win for the league to get that right to pick your opponent? Or do we just play for a playoff berth? Now, you were the only one who said go for broke. You were the only one of us on the trio. You were the only one that said go for broke. You know what you want. And I stand by it. Well, you can stand. I'm not saying you can't. saying you shouldn't stand by it. I'm just saying you were the only one who said go for broke. So go on, right now. Why did you stand by that? Well, this was a really okay. Yes, we had a bit of speed bump in February, but this was actually a really competitive team that had a very strong chance to get into the playoffs to cause serious damage. This was a team that you would not want to face in the playoffs. I felt we had every possibility to get for the league crown. We set ourselves up for a good position going into that coming back to championship break. I felt it was doable, and I'd rather would want to have had the right to pick rather than be in that vulnerable position of somebody choosing us. Not that we realised that properly at the time, because can I just interject? Okay. When they announced the structure of the playoffs, we got confused. We did. With the whole, the league champion gets to pick their opponent. We got confused. We thought it was between everybody else. So, the team qualifies in first, gets the right over everybody else. We didn't know until after the championship break that actually they could only choose between the team in third and fourth place. But we didn't know that. So we got confused. Right. But so when we were having our basic debate about if we were to be league champions, who we take, we just did the debate as if it was between everybody else was fair game. Right. What did we agree in the end? Did we agree it was better to take Ottawa? We said that if that was how the final standings, we agreed it'd be better to take Ottawa, not because at that point we had done the best against those three teams. It was because Toronto and Montreal would then face each other, and chances are we most likely would have had to play one of them in the finals to win the crown. Yeah, the old saying of you are be the best, beat the best. Yeah. So that might be something to think of if, going forward. Yeah. Think about that mindset going forward. Yeah. Oh yeah, because obviously, yeah. So it's basically kind of a tactical decision to ensure that Toronto and Montreal then face each other in the semi-final. One then goes, and then if we get through, then obviously we've got to then take it to that other team. Yeah. There was logic in our thinking. Yeah. So we weren't doing what Toronto eventually did, which was go, right, that team's in fourth, I can beat them, no problem, easy sweep for me, I'm going to be in the finals. Yeah. And I bet you that is what Toronto thought. Yeah, that is what Toronto thought. Well, they did. Well, basically every time we went to Toronto last year, they spanked us. Yeah, the only close results was whenever was in Minnesota. The rest, whenever we went to Toronto, we got well actually spanked. Yeah. Yeah, but we did have at the beginning of March when it was when the playoff structure announced, we did have that serious debate about if we were to be league champions, who would we take? And we basically just fought through those teams at the time. We didn't even think about Boston because at the time, Boston was kind of out of the picture, but they were not dead and buried. Oh, Boston were very much in the thick of it. And they did what they needed to do, plus Ottawa then. I don't want to say crash and burned, but they kind of did crash and burned. And they didn't have an easy schedule coming back for the championship break either, so... Well, Boston's was easy because it's either, but they found ways to beat the teams you need to beat to get points. I know. That's what you need to do, and that's what you need to do in this league. You need to find a way to get points against teams you need to beat, and Boston did it. And that's what they got him. Yeah. That's what they got him. Yeah. At least Boston earned their way in and didn't have to basically fight for scraps like we did. Yeah. We did. Yeah, but we started thinking about that because I basically had to basically say to you two, we need to be prepared. If we go to the playoffs, we need to be prepared to face literally anybody, because we could have literally faced any of these teams. Right? Literally, we could have faced any of these teams. So that was the mindset I was trying to get into you two, because, it's a 16 team. It's a 6-team league. It's high competitive. You could end up facing everyone in the playoffs. Yeah. That was why I was trying to them spend the rest of the season trying to get U2's heads, because I had an even bigger challenge in the playoffs, because these two before last year were not used to watching a best of 5 series, whereas I was, because obviously if you have ever followed the Coral Cup playoffs in the American Hockey League, those first 2 rounds are best of 5s. So I had that experience for the Barracuda, and for the times they've made the playoffs, I've had that experience. Whereas these two did not, because they don't follow the Kings affiliates. Yeah. Although you did get to see the Kings affiliates, because that was one of the 2 teams I got to see in my last trip to San Jose. It was, yep. That was the first game. My first ever Barracuda game was against the Ontario Reign. So you have seen U2's team's affiliate from the NHL, but you two don't follow them. No. It's only you. And and the Flyers support of our pack. Yes. The rest of us just don't, but we are aware they're there. Yeah. So yeah. Yeah. So all in all, it was a really competitive start for Minnesota, and going into that championship break, it literally was all about getting the job done. Now, of course, we didn't know until we came back for the World Championships that we were only a point away from clinching a berth. No. That's what's been crazy about this year, how clinching runners have come way before the championship break. Yeah, that was yeah, when I saw that about Montreal game, I was like, what? Yeah. But that is how scary good the Big 12 have been this year. Absolutely. That's how scary good the Big 12 have been. So, yeah. So the Big 12 became the first team to clinch, and they clinched before the World Championships. Which is a complete contrast to what teams were doing last year, because literally nobody clinched a berth before the World Championships last year. Nobody. Not even Toronto, who were kind of primed to have done it, but they didn't do it. Yeah. So it was a good first couple of months. We started ourselves really well for the World Championships, and yeah. And then you two went off that. Yeah. So show me how we finish off. Yeah. Yeah. So World Championships. The World Championship break comes around. Lady was gonna go follow it. Yeah. Had you followed it before? No. You'd not. No. I was in the same boat as you. So no. I hadn't followed the World Championships before. Because people like you didn't even know I had them. No. But of course, it's been mentioned a lot in the PHL. Yeah. Because obviously PHL players were going to be going, representing their countries. I decided, right, I'm going to follow it. And I asked you. Well, actually, I asked both of you. Who got asked first? He did. And you said no. I said no. You said no. No. Because you're like, it's not Olympics. So I'm like, no. No, I said no. So then I asked you. And you were like, yeah. Well, for me, my thinking of it was, it's 3 weeks off. That's too long for me to be away from women's hockey, especially as I'm now literally really getting into it. Yeah, so for me, I kind of felt that's too big of a gap off for me. I'll see what it's like. Yeah. So yeah. No. So how did you cope during that last year playoff? Because it was 3 full weeks off. I know. It's like, I mean, a week, fine, it's doable, because that goes in the blink of an eye. But it was 3 weeks off. We weren't coming back until April the 18th that year. How did you manage it? Probably best not to wonder, George. It's probably best not to wonder, just wonder. No. Yeah. So even though I didn't even know there was a World Championships women's hockey before PHL, I decided, well, you know what? I don't want to have 3 weeks off, especially when am now getting properly into the thick of it. I'm now taking it under my stride. I'm really getting into the swing of it. I'll go with you. Let's do it. And it ended up being a really thrilling championships, which unfortunately ended with a win for Canada over the USA in overtime. It was like Sochi all over again. Oh no, don't remind me like that. Roddy Poulin! Roddy Poulin! And who would have thought that 10 years later we still would be going, Roddy Poulin! No, it's all nicety. She knows why we say that. It's because we're not on her team. Oh, God. And we had double shooter got that during regulation. If I remember right, we had double shooting in regulation to win that, didn't we, in the Sochi games back in 2014? Yeah. And it was... Yep. That was not... Oh, God, I was in complete bits after that. You were literally... You were like... You basically were like Nicole Scherzinger on at the 6-chair challenge. Don't talk to me. But it wasn't her category. No, it wasn't. It wasn't. It was Simon's category, but she was like, literally, put her hood over her head. Don't talk to me. That was... What year was that? What year was that, George? 2017. That was a... Oh, yeah, well, No! Louie, no! How can you do that? Number one! I'm surprised Louie was able to make a decision. Bring it back! Yeah, 2017. That was a brilliant year of 6-chair because they made the judge who category it was on the stage go and be isolated, basically sit over a chair in the corner, while the other 3 would be on the table, literally making their feelings heard, and they just overreact. I absolutely... Oh, if I could watch that episode back, I would. That was a brilliant year. I've never really been a bit of a fan of that child because I think it's cruel, but those moments were just what made it so entertaining. That was brilliant. But basically the Sochi games, that result, Lady was basically like Nicole Scherzinger. She was basically like, don't talk to me. I was literally in bits. Yeah, but 3 months later, you two got to have a Stanley Cup. Right, but you two, I was left drowning in my sorrows. It was just, yeah, that was it. But no, yeah, but no, it was a thrilling championship, World Championships to watch last year. The problem was it was Canada beating the US again. It was like, how many more times have we got to go through this? Oh no. Are we really going to have another 20-year drought? Oh no. I can't believe it was that. No. So, and then George, I remember in 20, I then had to get George to look it up the records, and it was like, yeah. So we could now pretty much tell you every single Olympics who's won gold in women's hockey. Yeah, won't do it now though. Nah. So I basically decided, right, oh well, it's 3 weeks. It's 3 weeks. That's too big of a gap for me. I'll come with Lady, go watch World Championships. He went on a break. We'll see you back April 18 for the final stretch. And oh, what a final stretch it was. And that will be for next time. Oh no. Oh yes. Oh no. Oh yes. Can't escape it. Can't escape it. Oh god. Yeah. On the next time we will be looking back on what happened after the World Championships on April 18, where the league resumed back in play for what will be the final charge towards not the ultimate. No, sorry, final push. Should I say it better? On what would turn to be the final push towards the playoffs, which ended up becoming a bit of a three-way dogfight in that for that far side between the Charge, Frost, and Fleet. Yeah. But to finish off this one, I think was a great first couple of months, and the team put us into a really good position to do really, really well heading into the playoffs.
I'll say this nice, tell it in a letter, stamp and mail it out. We did our best, couldn't have done better. I think we should be proud, but you helped